From now, we would like to start the scheduled press conference of Foreign Minister Hayashi. I have three initial explanations to give you. First, today, the 7th through the 10th, I will be visiting Singapore and Malaysia. Through this opportunity, I will be having discussions with both countries' officials, including Foreign Minister Vivian Bangladesh of Singapore and Foreign Minister Saifuddin Abdullah of Malaysia. Through this visit, with our important regional partners, Singapore and Malaysia, keeping in mind next year's ASEAN-Japan 50th anniversary of friendship and cooperation, I would like to further strengthen the cooperation to realize free and open Indo-Pacific, as well as deepen bilateral cooperation in a broader sense, including economic security areas, coming and going of personnel, and various issues in the international society.
Second, on Ukraine situation, today, decision was made to take measures to freeze assets of Russia and regional stakeholders directly involved in annexation of some areas in eastern and southern regions of Ukraine, and the necessary cabinet endorsement was given. Japan cannot overlook unilateral attempt to change status quo by force and take sufficient two-pillar-based actions of imposing strong sanctions against Russia and supporting Ukraine by coordinating with international community, including G7 countries.
The third point, from October 11th to the 13th, Canadian Foreign Minister Ms. Mélanie Joly is planned to visit Japan as a guest of honor of Ministry of Foreign Affairs. During her stay in Japan, Foreign Minister Joly will have a meeting and a working dinner on the 11th. Japan and Canada both are G7 members, and we are important strategic partners in the Indo-Pacific area, which shares the universal value of freedom, democracy, human rights, and rule of law. And through the G7 Multi-Stakeholders Conference, we have had met several times and have built a trustful relationship. Through Minister Joly's visit to Japan, we'd like to further strengthen the Japan-Canadian relationship and further deepen cooperation between Japan and Canada to realize the free and open Indo-Pacific.
If you have a question, please raise your hand. If you're designated, please ask question after identifying your name and affiliation. Tanaka-san of Gigi, please. Tanaka of Gigi, about the nuclear abolition, about the Wiseman meeting, international arena. On November 23rd, you, Prime Minister, announced about the holding that, but there is some talk to postpone it. What is the coordination status? And if you are going to postpone it, what is the reason for postponement? In order to realize the world without nuclear free, the Wiseman Conference is the body where the participant of nuclear powers and non-nuclear powers talk about the ways, and the free and open discussion is expected, and Prime Minister Kishida established that meeting. Bearing in mind of a meeting of December 23rd, coordination was made, but given the situation and given the intent of the meeting, it is better to hold a significant meeting with more participants. So we are making coordination to hold a meeting in December, not in November 23rd. In the statement made by Prime Minister Kishida on October 3rd, by utilizing the Wise Mind meeting, we would like to take action along with the Hiroshima Action Plan, so that we would like to take a realistic and practical path to realize the world without nuclear. Thank you.
Mainichi Shimbun, Miyahara. Mr. Miyahara, please go ahead. My name is Miyahara from Mainichi Shimbun. I would like to ask a question related to North Korea. there are frequent missile launch from North Korea, and there are views that they will soon conduct nuclear testing. When that happens, as Japan, what kind of response are we going to take, and what is going to be the impact to the international society? North Korea on the 4th has launched a ballistic missile that flew across Japan. Starting with that, and the related actions of North Korea is significant and imminent threat to our country's security. And this is a threat to the peace and safety of the region and the international society. So we cannot definitely tolerate this. For the specific responses moving forward, we would like to cooperate with the United States and South Korea and continuously review this. Moving forward, including nuclear testing in North Korea, we do believe that they are going to come out with proactive actions, but I would like to refrain from answering a hypothetical question regarding the impact of that. Either way, we will have a close cooperation with the United States and other nations, and we will put our utmost effort to collect information and monitor with caution, and have a close cooperation between U.S., Japan, and Japan, U.S., and South Korea, and the international society to have a complete fulfillment in UN secure resolution of denuclearization of North Korea.
Asahi Shimbun, Nobita-san, please, relating to that, on the 5th, UN Security Council emergency meeting was held. And as for the UN Security Council, the uniform statement was not issued. What is your take on this? In May, at the UN Security Council, sanction resolution was posed. However, China and Russia imposed veto, so the UN Security Council is not functioning. What kind of actions will Japan take to North Korea? On the 6th, North Korea launched the ballistic missiles across Japan, and the UN Security Council was held. And in the middle of the council, the ballistic missile launch was conducted. Due to the passive stance by some countries against the serious provocations by North Korea and to the violation to the UN Security Council resolution, North Korea is not abiding by. We ask North Korea to compile with all the resolution to North Korea, and through collaboration with relevant countries, we would like to closely coordinate with Japan, US, and Japan, US, and Korea, South Korea.
Thank you, Achari Khaldun, Panorama News. Palestinian media reported that the former Prime Minister of Palestine who visited Japan recently met with Prime Minister Kishida and asked Japan to recognize Palestine. And since that Japan is a leading supporter of Palestinian issue and adopt and supports the two-state solution, what prevents Japan from recognizing Palestine as a state? Thank you.
Japan, towards the bilateral resolution and the Palestinians' independent state establishment right, and we are and to the and support to have the national self-determination of the nation, and we are supporting them from political and economic point of view.
Higuchi-san of Chibok Shimbun. Related to the Gigi's question, I have a question about the International Wise Man's meeting. Minister, you said that they want to invite more participants. That is important. Currently, what is the invitation status of dignitaries at this moment? Can you share with us? And nuclear powers and non-nuclear powers, both parties should participate. I think that is important. What is your view? As I mentioned earlier, this International Wise Man's Conference should have the participants from both nuclear and non-nuclear countries. So beyond the stance of each country, they should come up with their wisdom, and by receiving the involvement of the current and the former political leaders, Japan established this meeting. That is the reason why we are coordinating to invite participants from both groups. As I mentioned earlier, given the coordination status so far, given the intent of this meeting, by receiving more participants, we want to have this more meaningful meeting. That is why we are coordinating to hold this meeting in December. But as of now, I'm not in a stage to tell you the concrete names.
Any other questions from the floor? This will conclude the press conference. Thank you.